take you back to when I was about your age, all of you in 10th, 11th, I think. Um, and I remember asking my father, what should I do? Who can I be? And he said, you can be whatever you want to be, as long as you stay true to yourself. Choosing a career path, I'm sure, is a very, very daunting phase of your life. Hundreds of opinions, hundreds of expectations from friends and family. And then, of course, comes confusion, right? But it's only natural, it's only normal. Now, in hindsight, if I think about that confusing phase that I went through about what should I do and who should I be, now I feel that was a pretty exciting time. But only when you look back many years later. Right now, it's going to be extremely daunting, and that's only natural, so it's okay. Of course, I was slightly confused then as to what I should do. I had no clue. But all I knew is that I would be okay. I would work it out. I would figure it out as long as I could just be myself. My parents were actually keen that I become a pilot. And so was I. I was always interested in the aviation industry. And my father was also flying for an airline at that time. So I took up physics and maths as an extra subject because I had already chosen my field in college, which was arts. And I was majoring in English literature at that time because that was my area of interest. But I tried. I took up physics and maths as an extra subject and I could not handle it. I just couldn't. I realized that I wasn't cut out for it. And I had to stay true to myself, right? So I told myself it's okay. If I can't do this, I'm sure there'll be more to come. Even though I was told you can be whatever you want to be, the truth is that you have to be realistic and determine if you have the aptitude for something or that innate capacity to excel at something. And it could be anything, really. It could be anything that your heart desires. So here's how it all started for me. I was in college and I was asked to participate in a college fashion show. I was a little reluctant at first, but I knew I had the height. I knew I had the body structure that was required to be on a stage or on the ramp. So I decided to go for it and experience it and enjoy it. At that fashion show, one of the judges was a professional fashion show choreographer or a show director who spotted me. And after the show was over, he came up to me and he said, you know, you really have a good height and a good body structure, and I would like to use you for one of my professional shows that's coming up next month. Would you like to walk for it? Of course, I was taken aback. I was not expecting that at all. But there was a tiny little voice inside of me that said, you know what, go for it. Give it a shot. Why not? So I accepted the offer and I went along to walk for a professional fashion show literally a month after I did a college fashion show for the first time in my life. The same show director offered me another fashion show immediately. I think it was in a couple of weeks from then. And he said that, would you like to do the other one as well? Of course, that immediately indicated to me that I was being well received, I was being appreciated, and hence I was being given another job to do. Speaking of that little voice inside of me, again, it woke up and said, did you enjoy it? And I actually did enjoy being on stage, being on ramp. I had a good time. And I said, why not? I accepted the second offer as well. And I realized at that time that that little voice inside of you, call it your gut feeling, call it an intuition, that is something that never lies to you. It'll always take you to the right path. So if you can nurture and listen to that feeling, most of your answers in life will come from there. I can promise you that. So that's what I did. I went on to doing the second professional fashion show, and I think I was hooked. But I knew I needed a little more professional grooming and training to be a professional model. And so I asked around as to where I could train a little more to be a model. And I realized that the Miss India organization, which organizes the Miss India pageant, was one such organization that gives you free training if you are accepted. And they groom you and they train you to be on the ramp, to be on the stage. Um, and they give you that training, and they also train you to compete, right? So I decided to apply for the Miss India pageant. And once I got in, my training started, and I realized that there were so many girls there who had just entered because it was something that they just wanted to experience once in life, which is also fine. Uh, but they weren't really realistic about whether that is a profession they could carry on forward, right? So even though you have dreams and you have desires and you have this voice inside of you that tells you go for it, do it, you have to couple that with realistic sort of realistic goals and realism, and ask yourself, for any profession, um, do I really want to do this? Is this something that makes me happy? Can I handle it? Can I do this for a long time to come? For me, the questions were, do I have what it takes to be a model or a beauty queen, perhaps? Do I have what it takes to be an actor or an anchor? Do I have all the attributes and the attitude, or the right attitude, to carry this forward? All these answers I got during my training at the Miss India pageant. The beauty pageant world is something which is, or was at that time, very misunderstood. Pageants then and even now have always focused on bringing the best out of you, right? So apart from your physical appearance, your grooming, how to dress, how to walk, how to impress people, they also focus on public speaking, they focus on personality development, they focus on how to woo a crowd, and how to woo your judges, woo a crowd, how to be able to put forth your ideas and your opinions. Um, it gives you a boost of confidence. It builds your personality. So it's actually a very holistic and a wholesome training. It's not just about walking in heels, putting on hair and makeup, and walking in a swimsuit. Um, it's a lot more than that. They also train you to compete, right? So in today's world where there are so many people available to do so many things, competition is fierce in any field, right? In any department you go into, there is competition. So the pageant actually also trained me to compete, and in a healthy way. So I learned a lot at the pageant, and I realized that the world of glamour that I had just walked into was not easy. Um, Again, contrary to popular sort of beliefs that the world of entertainment and glamour is extremely fun and games and exciting, it's hard work. Let me tell you that it's a lot of hard work. It's long working hours, sleepless nights, a lot of discipline, where you have to really, really work hard to maintain yourself, exercise, diets. It's a lot of, it's hard work. Another thing I realized that pageants teach you is, actually not just pageants, but this particular industry teaches you how to deal with rejection, which is a very, very important lesson that we all learned. Um, so, say you have the physical attributes, right? Say you're tall, you've got a great body, you're good looking, you have, good structure. But that's not enough to get into modeling or get to be a beauty queen or to get into acting, is it? It's not. It's not just about that. It goes much beyond that. Ask yourself, do I have the right attitude to deal with this industry and be here for a long, long time to come? Do I have the confidence? Do I have the ability to deal with the competitive people in this industry or the competition that's in this industry? And can I deal with rejection? Coming back to the pageant, I didn't win the pageant, but later I was handpicked or selected by the organization to represent India at the first ever Miss Earth pageant, which was happening in Manila that year. Of course, I went through a lot more grooming and training, a lot more rigorous training to represent India, which is what taught me a lot more as well about this industry. Um, and at Miss Earth, I fared pretty well. I bagged 5 or 6 subtitles. I was in the top 9. I didn't win that either. but that was one of the greatest experiences of my life. Um, I came back to a lot of appreciation, a lot of applause, and I had a string of jobs waiting for me, magazine shoots, um, runway shows, ad film shoots, and that's how my career started in this industry. The world of modeling then and even now is actually a very, very professional one, which is what I wanted to convey to all of you today. If you get onto the right bandwagon and meet the right people, it's a very beautiful professional environment. It's not only about showcasing your portfolio as a model or an actor to them, but you must check their portfolio and their body of work as well. So you know that they are as much in the game as you want to be. So I spent the next decade of my life walking for the big A-list designers, shooting for the known brands, ads, magazines. I was featured in reputed magazines and publications as well. But again, you cannot allow all this to get to your head. There's fame, there's money, there's success, there are people around you all the time, and different kinds of people, different types of people. You'll find sweet and caring people, you'll find humble people, but then you'll also find people with big egos, people who are ruthless and extremely competitive, and you have to learn how to handle all these people while still keeping your head on your shoulders and still staying grounded. Handling people is a big, big part of this job. Speaking of competition or being competitive, like I said, there are so many people who enter this industry every day. And the competition to get a modeling job is, or an acting job, is fierce, right? So you have to stay disciplined, you have to work hard, you have to stay consistent, keep meeting and working with the right people. And before you know it, your rejection rate gets lesser and lesser. You work harder and harder, and your rejection rate is lower. Another very important thing I learned, and very quickly, which I'd like to share with you all as well, is that you can't be afraid to ask for work. Don't be afraid to ask for work. And I think that can hold true for any industry, actually. 9 out of 10 times when I asked for a job, I got it. Kickstarting your career with a beauty pageant can lead you to so many different fields in life. It could be modeling, it could be acting, it could be, being an anchor on television, being a TV show host. I have seen girls and boys come out of pageants, because we have Mr. India as well, and so many pageants for boys as well, come out absolutely prepared, in confidence, their personality is amazing, and they branch out into so many different fields. It doesn't mean just because you've entered a pageant you have to go into modeling or acting or in the glamour industry. Like I said, you can take all that learning and go anywhere, take it anywhere. I, of course, took the modeling route, and I also worked on TV as an anchor and a VJ for a few years. And then I started hosting live events. So I was an MC on stage for live events, and that's where my journey into events started. A model's career has a short lifespan. It has a shelf life, right? And that is something that I was aware of. I knew I was being realistic. I walked the ramp and hosted live events for brands and corporates, and I started to learn and understand how the big events work. And that's where I decided to start my own event company. Even while I was still modeling, I started my own event company. I learned on the job, and I started doing small events. I literally started with just doing the guest list for events at first, and then I got into production, and then slowly I got into producing and directing big fashion shows as well. So my transition had started. I was directing fashion shows, and then the Miss India organization got in touch with me, asking me to come on board and direct one of their shows. It was a sub-contest show, I remember, and they said, would you like, as a former beauty queen, would you like to come and direct a show for us? Which is when I got back in touch with the Miss India organization after many, many years. And of course, they had been following my career graph. And that's when they also offered me a consultant's role at the Miss India organization, where they wanted me to now groom and train the contestants of today. And I thought life has come full circle, you know. But there was still more. Um, of course, I know I had the courage to transition at the right time. Um, a lot of a lot of people that I have met in this industry and others as well sometimes lack the confidence and the courage to move on or move ahead or transition or evolve. But this is one thing that I can definitely say out of personal experience, that moving out or transitioning at the right time is extremely important, and take that leap of faith. Don't be afraid. I was okay to get off the ramp and go behind and produce an event. I was okay to get off front of camera, go behind the camera, and actually groom and train the Miss India contestants of today and teach them how to pose and how to be in front of the camera. And I was back. I was back where I started, but in a different capacity, in a different role. And that was, I was growing, I was evolving. And that's something I tell the girls today as well, the contestants of the pageants today, that don't be afraid to move on, don't be afraid to evolve. Today, I also run my own social media agency. Post-COVID, when events had become far and few, in COVID, events had taken a big hit. Even the Miss India pageants weren't happening, for a couple of years. It was all online. Post-COVID, we all know everything went online. It was then that I decided to move a little further and ask the same brands for who I did events for to give me their social media management. And I asked for it, I got it, and I started my own social media agency. And today we handle 25 brands. We handle social media and digital marketing for 25 brands. Again, all because I was not afraid to ask or move on and evolve. So with the world moving so fast these days, it's important to also move with the times. It's important to keep moving and keep evolving. Memorialize your work by staying relevant. My point is that every stage in life you will have to keep navigating through, evolving, and keep staying relevant. You could be anything in the creative field. You could be a painter, a dancer, a chef, a filmmaker, a theater actor. But you have to keep evolving, move with the times, and give your audience what the need of the hour is. I want to close by saying that today my little niece, who's all of 6 years old, she asks me, "Masi, what can I be when I grow up?" And I tell her, "Darling, you can be whatever you want, as long as you never stop learning." Thank you. Thanks.